Red. What would be on your menu if you were told that for the next 24 hours you could only consume red food? In today's video, I am going to be doing just that. For the entire day, I am going to be eating nothing but red. Thanks to this wonderful human being on Instagram who recommended this kind of challenge to me. In the next little series of videos, kind of spattered throughout the usual content on the channel, you're going to see these daily challenges where I basically take on the effort to only eat one color for 24 hours. We're starting with the most obvious, the first primary color that pops into your head. Today, we're eating red things. Let's go. Good morning, lovely people. It is 9 o'clock. I am working from home today, so I am just about to get myself a little red breakfast to kick off this maverick baking red food challenge. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, to hit that subscribe button. Let's get some breakfast. So believe it or not, for the purposes of both snacking and today's video, I have already spent this morning making some red velvet cupcakes, which you cannot see because my oven light is broken, but you can kind of see some outline there. And yes, believe it or not, my hand is already stained with red food dye and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So let me introduce you to some of the red foods we're going to be taking on today and some of the foods you can ignore. So I went shopping for my little kind of exclusively red one-day diet, and today we're going to tackle it. We're going to start off the morning with some kind of ruby red charcuterie. So let's get on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to the first meal of this red food challenge. We are starting the day off with this monochromatic meal. It's probably the most red breakfast I've ever had in my life, and probably the most red breakfast I will ever have in my life. So what you see here are some slices of chorizo. This is the Spanish style sausage with garlic and paprika. I love this stuff. Never had it for breakfast, so it's a first, but happy to be eating it. Then we're going to move on to some fruit, which is perhaps a more kind of obvious red food choice. We have some lovely strawberries here, which we are going to be snacking on. One of my favorite fruits, so absolutely no problem there. And we also have some fresh watermelon, a little bit expensive, out of season, and never very good in the UK compared to hot European countries, but here we are. This is our very red breakfast. Definitely not the worst breakfast I've ever had. Also forgot to mention that instead of my beloved coffee machine and beloved oat milk, today the coffee and caffeine is being replaced with rooibos tea, also known as red bush tea. Now I do actually drink this stuff fairly regularly. I do enjoy it. It's not quite the same as the coffee in the morning, but that is going to be the sort of most red replacement I can find. The actual tea bag, as you can probably see, is not red. But when you do add boiling water, it's probably the reddest tea I could find, so that'll do for me. The alternative was drinking that strawberry Lucozade for 24 hours, and honestly, I think my liver could do without it. So lunch today, in case you hadn't guessed, is this very, very unexciting tomato and basil soup, mostly because I can't be bothered cooking. We will be cooking later, and I've already done some baking, so I'm sure you can forgive me. This is the kind of reddest tomato soup I could find. A lot of the kind of best and tastiest tomato soups are laden with cream, so they're a bit more orange. So this I thought was the kind of purest example of tomato soup. So we're gonna have this with not much else, to be honest, because I thought I might be able to find some red crisps or some red kind of crackers, but not really. And bread, or at least all good bread, is kind of white. So yeah, we're having some soup, but we will follow it with at least one of these cupcakes I made this morning, which I will be icing. Even if the icing isn't red, I'm sure you can allow me some joy. So exciting. I'm not gonna lie, I'm also very, very hungry, so this will probably be gone in a matter of seconds. So while I eat this soup, which is actually better than I thought, I'm surrounded by carrot cake, which I made yesterday, cupcakes, fruit, brownies, snacks, and Francesco's enjoying some barbecue Pringles, which are just like one shade too orange to count. The soup on its own obviously wasn't particularly satisfying, but we do have this glorious beauty that is almost as red as my fingers. This is just a standard red velvet cupcake, recipe for which will be in the description box below. Follows a kind of classic red velvet recipe in that it contains that kind of blend of vanilla and chocolate flavor with the red food coloring. This one is slightly different because I used a different kind of soy-based yogurt instead of buttermilk, just because it's what I had. But it has still turned out rather lovely. Now, just to allow myself a slight bit of joy, I have added some cream cheese frosting on top. I would say, even as someone who isn't particularly talented in her math skills, I would say this is still something like 65% red, so we're gonna count that. And of course, there is another cup of the red bush tea to go with it. So it's 4:30. I ate lunch about kind of 2 hours ago, and basically I'm just feeling all of the things that you feel when you're on any kind of restrictive diet. This is half the reason I wanted to kind of showcase this kind of thing. Dieting or restricting your food intake in any way just makes you think about food non-stop, like non-stop. I'm hungry because the only kind of red carbohydrate-based foods I could find have an extremely high glycemic index. See, vegetables and cake. I'm planning on making some kind of buffalo chicken wings for dinner. So I bought some Frank's Red Hot hot sauce. I've got some butter, so I'm gonna try and just bake the wings in the oven because honestly, who has the time or the patience to deep fry things? So I'm going to bake the chicken wings, try and get them nice and crispy, try and do this kind of buffalo hot sauce type thing and have it just with some raw, crunchy red pepper sticks instead of the usual celery sticks with that. I have no idea if it will be any more satisfying than the other meals I've had today. I am feeling particularly kind of hollow and just generally quite unsatisfied with everything I've eaten, even though it has been fun. It's definitely not a good way to eat every single day. But yes, I will probably be hungry enough to claw my way into the kitchen to start cooking very soon, and I will take you with me. The closest thing I could find to a purely red but still vaguely nutritious and tasty dinner that wasn't just kind of a bowl of Skittles was some buffalo hot wings. Mostly just because I also had a massive craving for chicken wings as well. You could argue they're a little bit of a shade of orange, but you know what, I'm gonna call that red. Also, we have some nice little crunchy red pepper just for a bit of balance against all this butter and lovely deliciousness. But yes, definitely had worse dinners. So probably not going to film either of us eating this because this is likely to get wonderfully messy. So this is going to be it for the red food video. I don't think I will need anything else to sustain myself, and I doubt watermelon at midnight is particularly appealing. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little kind of food challenge. Comment down below which color you would like to see me eat for 24 hours next, and I will see you for the next one.